Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you my 100% drugstore foundation routine. I have been loving this routine. It is very long lasting, very flawless, and of course the best part is that it could be done using all products from the drugstore that are very affordable and accessible. I have been testing out a lot of new base products recently and doing a lot of first impressions and testing new makeup here on my channel, and a lot of the products that I've been testing out have worked their way into my daily makeup routine, especially when it comes to the base. I have been in love with how my foundation and my base has been looking recently. So of course, I had to share it with you guys. I had to recommend to you guys some amazing drugstore products because you really don't need to spend a lot of money to get a flawless base. So I really hope that you guys enjoy seeing this video. And if you want to see my drugstore foundation routine, make sure to keep on watching. Getting started, I want to talk to you guys just a little bit about my skin type. I would say I have pretty normal skin. Sometimes it does lean a little bit combination. Sometimes I have dry patches on my forehead. I get a little bit oily in my T-zone, but I definitely wouldn't say my skin leans very dry or very oily. It's kind of at this phase in the middle, which I've been grateful for because I love being able to play around with different products. I can kind of use more mattifying products and more luminous products. They just all kind of work for my normal skin type at the moment. The last foundation routine you guys saw here on my channel, I'm pretty sure it was more like glowy for the winter time, a little bit more luminous, but for me a routine like that isn't going to work in the summer because of the heat. I need my makeup to be a little bit more long lasting. So although I have a pretty normal skin type, I do like to take certain steps to get my makeup to last as long as possible. So the first thing that I like to do is of course put a hydrating layer on my skin. Hydrating my skin even in the warmer months is always really important, and lately I have been loving using this Wet n Wild Prime Focus Hydrating Primer Serum. This creates such a nice hydrating feeling on the skin, but it also makes my foundation look so smooth, and it has a nice tack to it, so I find that this also extends the wear of my makeup, which is really awesome. And it also is infused with rose water as well as green tea extract, and my skin loves anything rose. So I just like to take a little bit of this. I drop this on my fingers just to keep it as sanitary as possible. It's just like a very liquidy type of serum, if you guys can see it running down my hand. And I just like to massage it all over the face until it starts to turn tacky and dry down. When I first tried this out, it felt like almost too liquidy, almost as if it wasn't going to do a lot for my skin, but this makes my foundation last so long, and as I said, it just creates such like a flawless, smooth effect all over the face. I think this is definitely one of Wet n Wild's hidden gems because I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but it's made a really big difference in my foundation routine. Now I'm going to go in with a traditional primer, and typically I would use my original e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, which has been a favorite here on my channel for months and months and months, but since I just went in with the hydrating serum, I'm actually going to go in with the Matte Putty Primer on the center of my face. This is really great because it's not overly mattifying, it's not overly drying, and from experience I don't think you need to have oily skin to wear this product. I don't really have really oily skin, and I still think that this makes the center of my face just look so smooth and really airbrushed, and especially jumping on into these warmer months, it's just going to help control whatever oil that does break through. And I just like to take a teeny little bit of it and just kind of spread it around just the center of my face here. A little on my chin, nose, and the center of my forehead. I'm not gonna take this any farther out because I want the hydrating serum to really shine through on the other areas of my face, but this is just going to really smooth out the center. Next up, I'm going to jump into actually applying my foundation. I am so sorry if you guys hate me for how much I talk about this foundation here on my channel, but I just cannot find anything better. I never have, and I honestly think it's going to be really hard to top this foundation for me, especially for those of you watching this video that are here because you just want something in the middle, like a nice satin foundation, not too luminous, not very heavy and mattifying, but you still want that full coverage. It's the Maybelline 24-Hour Super Stay Foundation. I have tried so many different drugstore foundations, and there are really good ones, but when I think of just like the best of the best, what's going to last the longest, just work the best for a variety of different skin tones, this is just it. I cannot get myself myself to put it down. So I'm going to use this one today. Currently in this Maybelline foundation, I wear this in the shade 118 Light Beige, which is a really nice shade for me. It's probably one of the closest foundation matches that I've tried. Probably as it warms up and I spend some more time outside and get a little bit of a tan, I probably can jump down to the shade 120 Classic Ivory in this foundation, which just has a little bit more of like a tan. It can lean a little bit orange, but it does match me when I'm more tan. And then I think last summer after I got back from vacation, I jumped to the shade 130. I pretty much just love to press in my foundation with my e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. This has been my favorite sponge for a while, but there are a ton of different drugstore sponges that you guys can use that I love. I think a sponge just gives me like the most natural method of application while really also pressing in the coverage on the skin. And I always tend to put the least amount of foundation on my forehead just because that's where I need the least amount of coverage. I usually focus the most coverage down here, like on the bottom of my cheeks. And then here is how my skin is looking like after one layer of the foundation, which with this foundation, I usually just leave it at one layer. I find that the full coverage is there. It covers everything that I need it to cover. And I just love how this foundation looks on the skin so much. The last thing that I just need to go in and do is clean up the brow. And for this, I typically just like to use my same foundation. I used to use concealer, but I found that it left like a lighter line up here and you could kind of tell that I carved out my brows. So I switched over to using the foundation that I wear on my face, and it just gives a much more natural effect to having a carved eyebrow. It's time to do something about this darkness under my eyes. I need some concealer in my life today, and I have been loving and consistently using everyday e.l.f.'s Hydrating Camo Concealer. I recently did a video comparing this to the Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, which was my favorite before I discovered the e.l.f. I would go as far to say that the e.l.f. is a dupe for the Too Faced concealer for sure. If you guys want more details and you want to see how they wear next to each other, you could definitely go check out that dupes video. I never thought anything could top my Too Faced concealer for me, and the fact that a drugstore brand actually did it kind of blows my mind, and I love it. So I'm going to be using these two concealers today and mixing together these shades Light Ivory and Light Beige to get my perfect under eye shade. I'm only taking a little bit of Light Beige though, because it is very like heavily golden and dark on me. I just like to kind of neutralize Light Ivory with it because Light Ivory is a little bit pink on my skin tone. I definitely have to say, I think concealer is one of my favorite makeup products. It just really brings the whole look together, and you could even use it as foundation. Like if someone took away my foundation, I feel like you could just use concealer all over your face and it would be just as pretty. All right, so now my foundation is on, the concealer is on. I love how the base is looking so much. It looks absolutely beautiful. I definitely think that this is one of those foundations that if you are a little bit more on the dry side, or if you don't have to worry about your foundation transferring or anything like that in any sort of situation, I definitely think you could go ahead and leave this base unset. I'm not totally sure about the concealer because it is a little bit more of a hydrating formula. I usually don't skip setting my face, but I think you could get away with it if you were a little bit more on the dry side. But for me, I touch my face a lot. I'm just always scared of my foundation moving or transferring or getting messed up. Setting my face is always essential, and I have been loving, like absolutely loving, the Milani Make It Last Translucent Setting Powder. I have not reached for any other powder in months because this just makes my foundation, first of all, last really long, but not only that, it just gives the most beautiful, smooth, but not drying finish. Sometimes when I would use other powders, it would look nice, but it would look like I was wearing powder on the skin. It would look dry and powdery, but this powder sets the face without looking like powder, and it's just beautiful. So So I'm gonna go ahead and set the face now. I use the same exact sponge for my foundation, my concealer, and my powder. I find that it works really nicely for me. So I'm just gonna take about that much powder on my sponge, and I wouldn't call this baking. Maybe some of you guys would, but I don't like to leave a thick layer of powder underneath the eye. I just really like to press the powder into the skin until it blends into the skin itself. So I'm just setting with my sponge. I personally wouldn't call it baking the face, but to each their own. You guys can totally bake if you want to. But just a little heads up with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, I would let it set for like 2 to 3 minutes under the eye, because when you set with the sponge, it picks up the concealer really easily. So I would just let it set on its own before you jump in with the powder. I'm just gonna press in and kind of up to really press in those creases under the eye. I like to do the same on the nose, just really press the powder in until it's translucent, because I find that foundations break down pretty quickly on the nose. And also if I put like blue light glasses on or anything. But if you guys want like a full routine for glasses, I also did recently film that video on my channel. As for the outer perimeters of my face, I'm still gonna use my sponge, but I'm just gonna do more of like a light, quick tapping motion just to really dust the powder on lightly. And then same for the forehead, just like really light taps of the powder. Okay, so I just went ahead and finished up the rest of my face off of camera just to kind of speed the process along. And here's what the final foundation routine is looking like. The last thing that I like to do to finish up my foundation routine is a spray of some sort. One of my absolute favorites from the drugstore is the Catrice Cosmetics Illuminating Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. This is really nice for over makeup, under makeup. It has a beautiful finish on the skin, and it does have a touch of luminosity. There's not a lot of glitter or shimmer particles in this. It just kind of makes the face glow a little bit. Alright you guys, so that is going to complete this video. That is my 100% drugstore foundation routine that I have been absolutely loving lately. This is truly a flawless and very long lasting foundation routine. It is perfect again for this time of year that is getting a little bit warmer outside. This literally lasts through so much and my skin looks flawless throughout the day. As far as this foundation routine being flash friendly without any flashback or anything like that, I will go ahead and insert some pictures that I just took right here. And I honestly think this foundation routine looks pretty good with my iPhone camera and the flash. My face in flash photography always tends to look lighter than my neck, but I feel like that's because your face sticks out farther than your neck. It protrudes farther. So the flash is going to catch your face more than your neck that's kind of hidden by the shadows of your face, if that makes any sense. So my face does look a little bit lighter, but it's not looking like white or ashy, and I'm not seeing any of that like flashback Mary type of powdery look. It actually looks really good on the iPhone camera with the flash on. That is going to complete this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my drugstore foundation routine and spending time with me today. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.